Hey, First Regardsman here, and today I'll be talking about a Plasma Incinerator build for the Tactical class in both Operations and Siege mode on patch 8.0 Space Marine 2. Now, the Plasma Incinerator is an incredible boss killer, great for wiping out Majora's packs, and has pretty decent contested health recovery with its charge shots, and charge shots are the name of the game with this weapon, which is why we take the Rate of Fire variant. Now, some people like the venting speed version, but this one is just worse than the Rate of Fire. Getting charge shots off quickly is just the most important thing about the Plasma Incinerator for both your survivability and your damage, and while you are executing with this gun, your weapon will cool, so really, as long as you manage your charge shots properly, you'll be going from execute to execute anyways, and venting speed is only useful in like a very niche scenario of triple bosses, or like one of those scenarios you're actually able to properly spam out shots, which is not that common in Siege mode on the higher waves because there are just so many enemies, and oftentimes you just need to pot shot guys, which this is really good for. Now, as far as the actual perk tree selection goes, I have taken blast radius. Damage radius of a charge shot increases by 10%. Bigger radius is very important for this gun. Helps us hit multiple boss spawns, which is like the hardest thing in Siege mode anyways, and really useful for wiping out multiple Majora's packs. Next perk here is Rampage. After killing 7 enemies in rapid succession, you deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. Cooldown is 15 seconds. This is very easy to pull off. 25% is a very chunky number, and 10 seconds is an eternity in a video game. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Unfortunate it has a cooldown, but what are you going to do? Otherwise it'd be too easy to pull off. Next thing here is efficient charge. Charge shots from this plasma weapon use 2 less energy. This is just making our gun more ammo efficient. Pretty important even with things like Emperor's Vengeance, so we can actually get between procs. Next thing here is charge speed. Projectile speed of charge shots increases by 25%. This just lets you hit your charge shots more easily. Pretty self-explanatory. I don't take the plasma collection here because I don't find this necessary when we have the perk Emperor's Vengeance for ammo economy, because overall you already have like maximum ammo with things like skilled supplier in this anyways all the time. Like you're not really going to be running out that often. And then we go into more blast radius for, once again, the same reason as before. And then we go up into common speed. This one's pretty worthless, but we have to take it to get into adamant restoration, which just gives you back more ammo, unlike getting knocked down to low HP, which will happen sometimes. This is kind of easy. An easy way to get back ammo if your Emperor's Vengeance is on cooldown. You've really been spamming shots. Then I go into the perk I actually want, which is Retaliation. After a perfectly timed dodge, you deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. This one has no cooldown, and you dodge through things like Carnifexes in this game or Lictors all the time, especially Raveners. It just gives you more damage. 10 seconds is an eternity. Pretty self-explanatory, really good perk. Then we go into fast venting. Weapon cools 15% faster. This is useful for times where like you just have to get your weapon cooling off, and we kind of have to take this after Retaliation to get down into the most important perk, which is Perpetual Velocity. Shots charge 15% faster. Now, this perk tree got a rework. There used to be 2 versions of this perk. There are no longer. So your overall charge rate is actually slower than it used to be in like patch 5.0 and 6.0, but still good. Still a necessary perk. I would take this on every single Plasma Incinerator build ever, just because shots charging faster is the most important thing on this gun. Then we go down into efficient charge again for even more ammo efficiency, and really this gun's charge shots become so efficient with this combined with the plasma boost, and you just pretty much use no ammunition at all in this gun. It's kind of insane how good the ammo economy is on the tactical class overall. And then I finally move into Great Might. Damage increases by 10% against Terminus level enemies. In absolute difficulty, Terminus guys have 66% increased HP now, and this is just really useful to nuke them down. It also nukes down bosses, the triple boss spawns that are the major killer of Siege mode. Really good for all of that, which is why I take it. If you want to take something like Hone Precision, you can. This will make your hip fire shots a lot more accurate, and your plasma shot won't go flying everywhere. And if you want to like forego all of this, you could take both. If you were to go down like right here and just go into this perk tree and then like take this and then go up. So we go up to take Home Precision, and you just want to like forego Adamant Restoration entirely and Retaliation entirely. I just don't like Perfect Radius as a perk that much. After a perfectly timed dodge, the damage radius of a charge shot increases by 10% for 10 seconds. This is just not that useful compared to pure damage because our blast radius is already quite large. And this is pretty much just giving you another blast radius perk, except you have a condition on it, which isn't that great to me. So that's why I just decided to go up here instead for more damage. Now, as far as our secondary goes, you have 2 choices here. You could take the Plasma Pistol for the full plasma build, or to benefit off of the prestige perk Acuity here, which is the increased headshot damage, we take the heavy bolt pistol, which is very good at wiping out neurothropes. And overall, whenever I'm taking plasma boost, obviously you always take either a plasma pistol or a plasma incinerator, but I prefer the heavy bolt pistol on this outside of siege mode, mainly because it's better at killing things like neurothropes than the plasma shots are, and overall the heavy bolt pistol is very good for things that need to proc headshots on. And the way I set this up is this way, with terminus damage included for those neurothropes, and then on the plasma pistol, I just take the ammo efficiency version, or I take the rate of fire variant, and I just go down this way for efficient charge to get all your plasma damage, though the perfect cooling here doesn't do a ton for us. We can't just, like, it's the only perk we can take, so we go down this tree. And as for our melee weapon, we have chosen the Artificer Blockchain Sword. This is the overall best weapon on the tactical class currently. The lack of strength versus the relic tier really does not matter that much, except against bosses at times, and you aren't really meleeing bosses on this class to begin with, and the block weapons are just the best for the synergy with your battle focus perk. It does tremendous damage. You can take the relic tier version if you want. This one does do more boss damage, but overall this one is still better. And if you really want to take fencing, you could, but really block weapons are just better on tactical. And as far as the perk tree setup goes, this is what we take here. We just go into the full throttle for the skip. You can also take the momentum gain here because of how fast our speed is, but if you want to like forego this and just take the perk for a light combo to deal 10% more melee damage, that can be better, especially on other versions of this weapon. But overall, chain swords are just goated in this game. And as far as our perk selection goes, we have taken Plasma Boost. When plasma weapons are 30% overheated, their damage increases by 40%, and their charge shots use 1 less energy. This is a plasma build, pretty much a no-brainer. Always take this, even if you only have like a plasma pistol. It's pretty much like the best perk for any plasma weapon build at all. And then we go into Heightened Vigor. After a perfectly timed parry, block, or dodge, you deal 10% more melee and gun strike damage. Do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This is an incredible god tier perk. You pretty much always have to take this on the tactical class because no knockback is life-saving. This is his main form of knockback resist. If you don't have knockback resist, you can just get outright stun locked by things like sword warriors and 100 to 0'd. Always take it. Amazing perk, god tier. And then we go down to another god tier perk, Emperor's Vengeance. This one just gives you ammo back on Majora's kills, pretty much infinite ammo, gives you more requisition points to use in siege mode especially. Always take this, especially in siege mode. You pretty much always take this. These other perks don't even like do a full benefit for us here, because this one, like, we don't benefit at all from weapon spread and recoil reduction on a plasma gun, and we don't reload from Emperor's Judgment. Next perk here is Secure Stockpile. Equipment charge is restored by 1 for all squad members. Cooldown is 60 seconds. This perk is absolutely god tier. It is so much better than these other two. Even Aligned Aim, which is not bad, but this one just gives you 60-second cooldowns on Melta bombs for your whole team. This also stacks on top of other team perks, your like teammates' perks like Consecutive Execution, so they can toss out like 2 Melta bombs in a row. It will also like count the cooldown for this thing down while you still have a Melta bomb in your inventory, so you'll be able to like toss out a Melta bomb and then immediately toss out another one in like 10 seconds or so. It's an incredible perk. Completely broken, to be honest. I'm surprised they didn't nerf this one from like the PTS to the live game, but it is just godly. It is an incredible perk. Always take this. Next perk here is Vital Data. Scanning an extremist or terminus level enemy restores Auspex scans charged by 50%. Especially in siege mode, this is super valuable because there are just so many extremist enemies, and you really want to be able to put out your Auspex scan as much as possible on triple boss spawns, and with concentrated fire, you just do a tremendous amount of bonus damage for your whole team with this out all the time. Great stuff. It also affects Minoris enemies and pretty much get one shot. Always take this in siege mode. If you don't want to take this in the operations, you could take priority targeting, but honestly, I've kind of grown to like this perk anyways, so I just put on this build for that reason. Next perk here is Battle Focus. A perfectly timed parry or block, it gives the parried enemy a mark from Auspex scan. This does now work on bosses again. They previously nerfed it in like the PTS, or it was bugged to not function that way. But now you can just mark bosses by blocking them or perfect parrying them, and having an Auspex applied on the most dangerous enemy is like the most valuable thing in this game for damage, for like a damage nuke. And Battle Focus, god tier perk, like top 5 perk in the whole game. Same thing here when we move down to Concentrated Fire. Auspex scan zone lasts 60% longer, and enemies marked by Auspex scan take an additional 120% damage, but they lose the mark when they leave the scanned area. This one, you put it down on like a triple boss spawn, and your heavy and your plasma will be able to just nuke a triple boss spawn in potentially like seconds if you guys properly position and you have like, you know, a lucky line of sight. But overall, concentrated fire is super, super valuable. It also makes it so we don't ever have to take a prestige perk like Second Look, because this does nothing for us when we have the concentrated fire zone, because you never miss with this one. Same thing here with Signature Impact, God tier perk. A melee finisher additionally deals significant area of effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This is an AoE damage perk that can outright one-shot Majoris and even do significant damage to Extremis and bosses. Incredible perk, so much better than the other two options. Like, Signal Jammer is so trash that it makes it like, I'm honestly, this one needs like a whole rework to ever get even close to this one. Same thing with Marked for Death. This one's pretty trash. 120-second cooldown to kill one Extremis when there are like hundreds of them in siege mode now. Pretty terrible. Not even that good in operations at times, because Radiant Impact is just so effective. As far as the prestige perks go, I do have Acuity here because I was taking the heavy bolt pistol on this run, but if you don't want to take the heavy bolt pistol, you can forego this for something like Spare Power. Collecting an ammo box restores ability charge by 25%. This is really useful in the siege mode because you can just buy ammo boxes. It's a lot better than it looks, but in the actual operations, it's pretty trash. And then I take Skilled Supplier. Ammo reserve increases by 15%. Just free ammo makes it easier to get between our Emperor's Judgment loops. This also counts for our... where is it? It also counts for our plasma pistol here, so we get more ammo on this as well, and our heavy bolt pistol. So Skill Supplier, quite good. And then we take Resilience. Medicate stims restore 40% more health. Just makes our stims more valuable. Value is value, that's more requisition points for us. And then Fortitude, health increases by 15%. This will prevent you from getting one shot at times or outright dying. Incredible perk. Always take this. Probably the most important perk in this tree besides Acuity for builds that have like headshot damage. Fortitude just God tier. And that's really all there is for the actual perk setup. Hey guys, First Tier Guardsman here, and today I'll be talking about a Stalker Bolt Rifle build for the Tactical class in patch 8.1 of Space Marine 2. Now, the Stalker Bolt Rifle is one of the best guns in this game. It does a ton of Majoris damage, a ton of Extremis damage, and a truly staggering amount of damage to things like Neurothropes. This is probably the best weapon in-game for killing a Neurothrope, at least as far as ranged weapons go. Power Fist might be slightly better with Auspex, but overall, this one nukes them down so quickly with all the ranged damage buffs. Things like Aligned Aim, things like Balanced Distribution, and even Steady Aim. And if you put down a Concentrated Fire on a Neurothrope, you will just evaporate them, even on absolute difficulty with their increased HP by yourself, pretty much. I'll show a clip of that for a second. This was on absolute, and we do just nuke this guy down so quickly. So a ton of damage, really valuable weapon. I will say the variant of the Stalker Bolt Rifle I do take here is the magazine capacity and ammo reserve option, mainly because I like to take the perk Steady Aim in operations, which is weapon spread and recoil are reduced by 20%, and range damage against terminus level enemies is increased by 15%. Now, weapon spread and recoil really doesn't matter for this gun, but the increased terminus damage, it does let you nuke down the Neurothropes that much faster. But if you are playing in like siege mode, I would just take Emperor's Vengeance, because ammo economy is way more important there because you're saving on requisition points. But in the actual operations, you do have a lot of leeway on your ammo, and if you have 3 teammates, you're not going to be running out that much. Now, as far as the actual perk tree goes, I do just build into headshot damage here, into recoupment. This is a really good perk here, which is killing a Majoris level or higher enemy with a headshot with this weapon restores 1 armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. This is some of like the only weapon perk armor recovery of any perk in this game. Really, really good, really valuable, pretty much on every single bolt weapon. And I also take more terminus damage here because we're trying to kill Neurothropes. That's kind of like the whole shtick of this build. Now, as far as the secondary weapon goes, I do take the heavy bolt pistol because I'm building for headshots and pure range damage. If you do want to swap out the perk Balanced Distribution here for the plasma boost and not like lose out damage on your heavy bolt pistol or something, or you just want to take this perk here to like take a plasma pistol, you certainly can. And the plasma pistol is better in the siege mode than it is in the operations, so I would take this instead for that. But Balanced Distribution is better for your overall Stalker Bolt Rifle damage. But as far as the heavy bolt pistol tree goes, I just build it this way, go up here, and I go down into Great Might for more terminus damage as well. Alternatively, you could take the increased capacity version instead. and for plasma, I just build it this way. And for the actual melee weapon, I do take the Artificer block chainsword because speed is just way more important than strength here, and whatever damage difference there is for like the block on the relic tier and this one, you make up for it by hitting more, and this also enables you to get more contested HP back with things like swift recovery, heavy attacks restore 100% more contested health, applies to the following attacks: quick punch, front kick, shoulder bash, stomp. So this is still a very valuable perk, especially with the speed stat here. And if you have the full throttle skip, you'll just bash into Minoris waves and take basically no damage. Now, I will say you can take the fencing version if you want. This is by no means a bad weapon, but I have been recently enjoying the block knife because the block knife is very strong. Shadow Stab is a very powerful ability. This one does a ton of boss damage, like Neurothropes or Landed or something like that. And I will say that recently the battle focus, it did get nerfed. It's like this no longer applies the Auspex bonuses of things like Concentrate Fire on your parry. So the damage of Tactical is severely nerfed here for like melee combat, and the block knife does do slightly more damage than like even an Artificer block version on the chainsword will. So that's why I kind of like this weapon. Now, as for the actual perk tree, I do go here for Balanced Distribution, which is your primary weapon deals 10% more damage, but your secondary weapon deals 10% less damage. This is basically an enabler for our Stalker bolt rifle, and this is just to do more damage to bosses primarily. You do feel the damage loss a bit on your secondary with the heavy bolt pistol, but overall, this still makes your Stalker bolt rifle hit like a truck. And then I move here into Heightened Vigor, which is after a perfect time parry, block, or dodge, you deal 10% more melee and gunstrike damage, do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. No knockback resist in this game is incredible. It lets you hit things that you would otherwise be unable to, prevents you from getting stun locked by things like zone throw balls, and even stuff like the Sword Warrior hits, so super valuable. If you are using a fencing weapon though, you could take this, though you will be a little more vulnerable, but the range damage increase of like 25% is still very good, although it only lasts for 5 seconds, which is not like super long in this game. And then we take Steady Aim for operations, or Emperor's Vengeance for siege mode, pretty self-explanatory there. And then we take the Aligned to Aim perk for our team perk here, which is range damage increases by 15% for all squad members. I will just be like straight up that the Secure Stockpile buff is just way better overall. This is just an SSS tier perk, but this isn't supposed to be like a hyper meta build. It's supposed to be for fun, and Aligned Aim is still like a very good perk in this game, still an A tier for sure. And a range damage increase of 15% for everyone really enables all the damage numbers for your teammates, like your heavy or even your sniper. So still a good perk. This one's just better. Next perk here is Vital Data. Scanning extremist or terminus level enemy restores Auspex scans charged by 50%. There are simply more bosses now than there have ever been, and more Auspex is always good, especially with Concentrated Fire being an amazing ability. So I pretty much just take this all the time now. And then Battle Focus, a perfect time parry or block gives the parried enemy a mark from Auspex scan. This works on bosses as well, and it's still a very powerful perk, not quite as powerful as it used to be, but any amount of bonus damage is bonus damage, and this is just the best perk in this tree overall. And then here we take a Concentrated Fire. Auspex scan zone lasts 60% longer. Enemies marked by Auspex scan take an additional 120% damage, but they lose the mark when they leave the scanned area. This is just overall the best because when you properly place it, you just get more damage for longer, and the damage here is kind of absurd unless you nuke down most bosses. And bosses are really fat in this game, so they usually like to sit in like one spot and just get like bopped by this anyways. And then we take Radiant Impact for our signature perk, which is a melee finisher. Additionally, deals significant area of effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk is just the meta because it does the most. It'll wipe out whole Majora's packs. Honestly, there are times where like this does more than your actual weapons do, especially now with the battle focus nerf. And Radiant Impact is just super valuable for that reason, even on like a 90-second cooldown. And as far as the perk tree goes here for our prestige perks, we do take Acuity, which is just more headshot damage, probably like one of the best perks in this whole tree. Then we go into Skilled Supply here for more ammo reserves because I'm not taking the set Emperor's Vengeance here for the operations, but even with Emperor's Vengeance, this perk is still good because it helps your secondary weapon. And then I take the perk here for Resilience, which is just Medicae stims, restore 40% more health, makes your Medicae just more valuable. And then I take Fortitude because health increases in this game are just incredibly valuable, and this is like one of the only tank perks on this whole tree for anything regarding the tactical. And that's pretty much all there is for this build. You have quite a few options. Now you could take the fencing knife if you really wanted to like use a knife instead, but the fencing knife is pretty bad in this game compared to the block knife, and the fencing chainsword is a much better fencing option if you want to do that. First Regardsman here. Today I'll be talking about a bolt rifle grenade launcher build for the tactical class for both operations and siege mode in patch 8.0 Space Marine 2. Now the bolt rifle with grenade launcher used to be like the single most overpowered weapon in this entire game because you used to get all of your grenades back off of a single Emperor's Vengeance trigger, and that was busted. It completely trivialized the game. They nerfed it. Now you only get one back per trigger, which is kind of unfortunate. The gun definitely definitely fell off from that, but it's still pretty decent. And in the siege mode in particular, you can buy ammo boxes, which will give you back like half of your grenades off a single one. So that's really good for us, and that's what we're going to build around today. Now, as far as the perk tree is concerned, I do take extended magazine because this will increase the actual grenade count you have alongside things like increased capacity, on top of things like your heavies, additional supplies perk. All of these will give you back more grenades, or like give you like a total grenade increase. That's why we go down here. Now we go into magazine restoration next, which is when your health drops below 30%, your ammo reserve is restored by a full magazine, cannot exceed maximum ammo capacity, cooldown is 30 seconds. Now this perk unfortunately does nothing for us for our grenade launcher, but it does give us back ammo reserve, so it's not that bad, but I do wish it gave us back some grenades, to be honest. Next perk here is Perpetual Precision. It's just maximum spread decrease, pretty simple. Next perk here kind of sucks, Able Precision. After using a class ability, maximum spread decreases by 25% for 10 seconds. This one is significantly worse than the perk up here, Able Reload, which just instantaneously reloads your weapon on a single class ability use, because in the siege mode, thanks to the perk Vital Data, you do actually put down auspex all the time, and this one would actually be pretty good with that. Unfortunately, we can't go down here if you want to actually take the extended magazine and go into full damage. Now the next perk we do take is Great Might. Damage increases by 10% against terminus level enemies. Pretty self-explanatory, more damage versus bosses. That's kind of like the whole thing this is good against. And then we go up here into Recoupment. Killing a Majoris level or higher enemy with a headshot with this weapon restores 1 armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Now this is on like basically every bolt weapon in the game. Like it's right here. It's also on the Stalker bolt rifle at the end of the tree. I also believe it's here somewhere. Actually, I guess, yeah, it is here, Recoupment. So this is actually a really good perk, mainly because the drip fed armor in this game is super valuable, and the way that armor works in Space Marine 2 is that if you take any damage while you have any amount of armor remaining from like a melee hit, it will reduce that melee damage to 0, not versus range but just melee, and even in bosses this will function. So drip fed armor is very valuable. This perk is quite good. 15-second cooldown is not bad at all, so that's why we take it here and pretty much on every bolt gun we can. Next perk down here is Cleaving Fire. Shots will penetrate enemy block stances, dealing 25% of the usual damage. This is quite good. It's just, unfortunately, this gun doesn't do a ton of headshot damage anyways. It's not like a sniper rifle, but we kind of have to take this to move into Rampage. After killing 7 enemies in rapid succession, you deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Now, in Magical Christmas Land, when like everything in this game goes your way, you get to trigger this at the same time you are using your grenade launcher with an auspex, and you will do tremendous damage, especially if there's like a clump inside of a boss, like a boss spawn, like a triple boss spawn or something, and you'll just do a ton of damage. Really good perk here. This perk up here, Rapid Health, is also good, but like half the time in siege mode, you're playing with like a Vanguard or something, or like an Invigorating Icon Bulwark, so healing really isn't that much of an issue. And also, I do want to say, we move into the extended magazine here and Headhunter plus the Divine Might perk, but if you want to forego Headhunter and take Tactical Precision, which is headshots deal 20% more damage, non-headshot damage it decreases by 10%, you can, but the way this perk actually works is that it gives you a 30% damage increase to all headshots and a 10% damage reduction to all other ranged attacks. So that should negatively impact our grenade launcher if we take this perk, but if you value the headshots more, this is still an amazing perk. That's why I decided to forego it today and just take the Headhunter instead, but you are totally free to take this if you want. Now, as far as our secondary goes, I do take the Plasma Pistol, mainly because Plasma just overperforms in siege mode. The AoE gun strikes are amazing, and we build for pure ammo capacity because it's actually pretty hard in this game to get back ammo on your secondary unless you're like a Bulwark or something with auxiliary reload, and that's also why we build into pure ammo on the perk tree into efficient charge here. Now, as for our melee weapon selection, I have decided to take a combat knife today to be a little bit different than just like the regular chainsword. Either way, I do take the block variant, mainly because block weapons on the tactical especially are his best option because they will allow him to proc his battle focus auspex parry on bosses. The fencing weapons are unable to do this in my experience, and overall block just does significant. And as far as our melee weapon selection goes, we have decided to take the block combat knife today. Now, the combat knife is a pretty fun weapon. The shadow stab is amazing for boss damage. The chainsword is overall better, so if you want to take this, I would take like the artificer block version just because the speed stat is far more important than the strength stat here. And either way, block weapons on the tactical especially are the best option because they will proc his battle focus on bosses, which fencing will not, and balance will also not do this. And battle focus on bosses is invaluable unbeatable in Siege mode, so that's why we take these here. And also they're just really good, and they give you armor regen where you otherwise have none. Now, as far as the actual perk tree for this goes, I take Perpetual Strength into Kinetic Energy, into Perpetual Strength, into Perpetual Strength. Just more melee damage. This is more damage on heavy attacks, consecutive heavy attacks, which is really good for us because heavy attacks on the knife especially are like the best option. Then we move into Heavy Onslaught. Heavy attacks with this weapon deal 15% more damage. It's just, a no-brainer. More heavy attack damage is always good for us. Then we go into Reeling Blow. Both of these perks here for Whirlwind Slash suck because Whirlwind Slash is just terrible on this. That's like the final hit in your combo, or like the one running. I forget which one it is exactly, but I do know it sucks. That's the main takeaway here. And the perk down here, Shadow Stab, is like the best perk in this whole tree. Replace Heavy Swing with Shadow Stab. Hold the attack button to charge it. Damage increases by 200% per 1 second of charging. That is a lot of damage. This weapon does a lot of damage, and really the big thing about this weapon in general is that with a class like Tactical and Sniper, you can just pull off like ridiculous boss nuking, because this guy can take Tactical Ambush. This guy has an Auspex parry and an Auspex scan, and though it is harder to get a Shadow Stab off on bosses with the Tactical than it is the Sniper class because you can't go invisible, you're not that guy, but you can still do some serious boss damage with this regardless. Next perk is Tide of Battle, which I said is bad, though if you can also take Shoulder Bash instead of Perpetual Strength here, because Shoulder Bash will replace your dashing attack with like a really quick Shoulder Bash that makes it far easier to trigger your double block charges. And the way that block weapons work, just to like give you an idea if you don't know how they work here, is that you get a perfect block window instead of a perfect parry window, and if you block with a perfect block twice, you will get 2 charges, and your next melee hit will do significant melee damage, give you an armor back, do a little bit of an AoE explosion. It's actually bugged right now, and then it will also give you a damage buff for like 1.3 seconds or something like that immediately after. So very good for damage, very good for attacking enemies, and the speed stat on this one is incredible compared to the fencing one. The fencing knife is pretty terrible, to be honest, and the block one is just the way to go. And then we go into the Terminus Slayer here, because boss damage is very important for this, and Extremis damage just does not matter for us too much on this, but if you want to take that, you can. And if you don't want to take Perpetual Strength, you just want to swap into the Shoulder Bash, you can also do that. That's really all there is for the melee weapon here. Onto the actual perk tree. As for our perk tree setup here, we do take Plasma Boost first. When plasma weapons are 30% overheated, their damage increases by 40%, and their charge shots use 1 less energy. Now, the only plasma weapon we have here is the Plasma Pistol. However, this weapon is super good, super S tier, and this one makes it even better. And this is honestly the best perk in this tree. It makes you save ammo, it does a ton of damage, and I won't lie to you guys, the bolt rifle is not that good at killing chaos, and it's not that good at actually getting like CHP back, so sometimes you do have to rely on your Plasma Pistol and the chaos waves, and this will also interrupt Soul Reaper cannons. So if you do like a charge shot on a Soul Reaper while he's shooting at you, it will stop them, it will stagger them, so just keep that in mind. And that's why we take the 40% damage boost, and the shots use 1 less energy, because this is very important for us to keep our ammo up on this thing, and also we take the magazine capacity variant for that reason, like I said previously. So that's why we take Plasma Boost here. Next perk we have is God Tier, Heightened Vigor. After a perfectly timed parry, block, or dodge, you deal 10% more melee and gun strike damage. Do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This perk just saves your life. It is the best version of like no knockback of any perk of this type. It gives you 10% more melee and gun strike damage as a bonus. Incredible perk. Tactical is just the goat. Next perk we take is Emperor's Vengeance. Killing a Major's level or higher enemy restores your primary weapon's ammo by 1 magazine. Cannot exceed maximum ammo capacity. Cooldown is 30 seconds. This perk did get a bit of a nerf, like we said previously, to the bolt rifle, mainly because it only gives you back 1 grenade. I do think it should probably be buffed to give you back like 2 or something, but overall, drip-fed grenades are still really good for us. We still take it. And also this helps you save on like requisition points in general, which is really important for siege mode. Now, as far as the team perk goes, we take Secure Stockpile. Equipment charge is stored by 1 for all squad members. Cooldown is 60 seconds. This perk is like damn near busted. Honestly, it just is busted. It's like the best team perk on him by a huge margin. It's one of the best team perks in the entire game. Might even be like the single best team perk in the whole game, besides like Encompassing Aegis right now, because this perk will save your team's life, but this perk will also just kill everything for your team. It also gives equipment recharge to the tactical reticle that usually has none outside of improved efficiency, which you have to give up your battle focus for, and it gives a Melta bomb spam to the Bulwark class that usually has none. Incredible perk. Always take this. Same perk here for siege mode, vital data, scanning an extremis or terminus level enemy restores Auspex scans charged by 50%. This is just more Auspex for you. Incredible perk. Always take this on siege mode because there are just so many extremis and terminus guys that every time you put down a concentrated fire, you will just get back your Auspex that much faster. Next perk here is pretty god tier. Battle Focus, a perfectly timed parry or block, gives the parried enemy a mark from Auspex scan. Now, right now, I think that fencing weapons are bugged for the Auspex scan, that they don't give the Auspex on bosses, but still works for block. And I will say that Battle Focus does feel like it got a stealth nerf in this patch, because it no longer applies, or doesn't feel like it applies things like concentrated fires damage bonus on your actual parry Auspex. And like, to be honest, it's kind of a justified nerf. This perk is still S tier. It's just not as good as it used to be, it feels. But the next perk we take here is Concentrated Fire. Auspex scan zone lasts 60% longer, and enemies marked by Auspex scan take an additional 120% damage, but they lose the mark when they leave the scanned area. This is really good because you can like mag dump all of your grenades, and your heavy can mag dump, or charge to dump his heavy plasma in a very short period of time with rate of fire variance. And a lot of the times the bosses, the triple boss spawns, will clump and your enemies will clump, and in siege mode there are so many enemies. Just plopping down a scan and just having this massive damaging radius for 60% longer is incredible. So pretty much always take this too. If you want to take expert timing, you can, but losing the mark's duration does kind of suck, especially when there are so many enemies in the game. Next perk we take here for the signature is Radiating Impact. A melee finisher additionally deals significant area of effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. So this perk scales up so dramatically. It will wipe out whole Majora's packs, deal significant damage to extremists and even bosses if they're like unlucky enough to get caught in it. Incredible perk. You pretty much always take this for siege mode. These other two aren't even close. Now, as far as our prestige perks go, we do take Acuity here. Each consecutive headshot increases headshot damage by 3% up to 15%. The bonus lasts 5 seconds without a headshot. This is just an enabler for our bolt rifle to do a bit more damage, and it's one of the best perks in this tree. Now, we do take a Skilled Supplier because this does give us more grenades, so ammo reserve increases by 15%. And now, this is a choice you can make. You can either take this or the perk Resilience for more Medicae stims, but Spare Power, collecting an ammo box, restores ability charge by 25%. If you camp out at like a requisition terminal and you just have a bunch of ammo boxes, you can get back your Auspex scan very easily, and you can also just dump out grenades constantly, put down the concentrated fire zone, put down another one, and do serious boss damage. Really valuable perk at times in the actual siege mode. This perk is pretty terrible in operations because you just get fewer ammo boxes, but in siege mode you can buy them and store them, especially if you have like a coordinated team. And the next perk here is Fortitude, because health increases just keep you alive longer, and this class does struggle with survivability. And that's pretty much all there is for the actual build setup. Now, the heavy bolt rifle is a very popular weapon in this game. It's also one I like a lot. I will say up front, this weapon's boss damage is not incredible. There's no bolt carbine or plasma incinerator or even stalker bolt rifle, though it is still really good at culling hordes and shooting down Majoras. And I will also mention its CHP regen is not super epic versus chaos, so it can struggle post wave 15, but for most people they just want to get to like wave 15, maybe a little above, and this weapon is still great for that. It's a ton of fun to use. Now, the best variant of this weapon in my opinion is the accuracy variant, mainly because it actually has a tremendously high magazine capacity. You only get 5 more rounds in your magazine on the ammo version, and you also have a ton of ammo reserves on this thing. It's kind of strange because most guns in this game, they don't like give you magazine capacity on the actual accuracy variant, but this one does, so that's why we choose it. And your gun is basically a laser beam when you have accuracy 6. Now, for the perk tree, we do take Headhunter first. Headshots that deal 10% more damage. More damage is more damage. Then we go into Adamant Hunter when your health is below 30%. Headshots deal 25% more damage. This perk is actually super good when it actually procs. Unfortunately, it has a negative interaction with rapid health, which is when your health is below 30%. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores health by 10%. So whenever you get below 30% health to proc this, you're going to get it back so quickly because this perk has no cooldown, and this gun is very good at killing Minora's hordes and killing 7 enemies in rapid succession. So kind of a negative perk synergy. It's kind of unfortunate, but it's just the way it is. Next perk here is Fast Reload, and then we go down into Cleaving Fire, and then we go over into Remote Threat. Enemies at a distance of more than 25 meters take 20% more damage. This perk is very good, and you actually get this off a lot more than you'd think, and 20% is a pretty meaty increase to your damage, so I pretty much always go down here, and then I go into Great Might. Damage increases by 10% against Terminus level enemies. This is a good perk for boss damage. Unfortunately, like I said before, this weapon's boss damage is not amazing, but we have to take this to go into Headhunter. Headshots deal 10% more damage, and then we go up into Tactical Precision. Headshots deal 20% more damage, non-headshot damage decreases by 10%. Now, the description of this perk is actually incorrect. What this perk actually does is it gives you 30% more headshot damage, and then minus 10% on all non-headshot damage for ranged attacks, minus 10% damage on all your ranged attacks, and 30% more headshot damage. I don't know why they worded it this way, but it's just the way they did it, and it's been data mined to be the other way, which is kind of unfortunate, but still an amazing perk and pretty incredible. Pretty much always take this. It will up your DPS when you're not using like a grenade launcher or something dramatically. Next perk here is also amazing, Recoupment. Killing a Majoris level or higher enemy with a headshot with this weapon restores 1 armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Now this perk just gives you armor regen on a class that kind of struggles to get armor back. Really good perk. This is actually on like every bolt weapon now, at least for the tactical. I don't know if it's on like the actual heavy bolter, but super good perk. And when armor is drip fed to you in this game, pretty much the way armor works is that when you have any amount of armor remaining and you take any instance of damage from like a melee hit or something, even if it's from a boss, you will take no damage no matter what. Ranged shots will go through, but drip fed armor is still very valuable for that reason, which is why we take this perk. Next perk here is Rapid Health, which I've already explained a little bit, and then we move into Perpetual Penetration. Now this perk actually does basically nothing for us because we have Piercing of 4 already, so you already cull hordes so easily, but I guess you get to cull them a little bit more easily with this perk, but really it's kind of redundant. And then we move into Divine Might. Damage increases by 10%. Now alternatively, if you don't want to take Recoupment for whatever reason, which is like the main reason we go up here in the first place, you could go down here for Cleaving Fire again to get like a total of 50% block damage, or 50% block penetration, which is okay. It's not like amazing, which is why I don't really care much for it. And you could just go down into Rampage, which is a very good perk for 25% damage on a rapid succession kill with a cooldown of 15 seconds for a 10-second active time. And 10 seconds of active time on this is pretty high. Like that's a pretty long period of time in this game, and its cooldown is not that long. You really only have to wait like 5 seconds between this. Next perk would be Extended Magazine to take here, and then you can move into like Remote Threat again. So this could be more overall damage for you. I just value the Recoupment armor restore quite a bit, which is why I've chosen this. Now as far as the actual secondary goes, I do take the Plasma Pistol once again, mainly because this gun is just goated on Siege mode. The gun strikes on this thing do a lot of damage. They also have an AoE effect, and AoE effects in Siege mode scale up so much, mainly because there are just so many enemies, and this one can hit multiple bosses, multiple Majoris packs, multiple Extremis packs at times. Super valuable, amazing stuff. I talk about it in every video, but I don't assume everyone's watched every video, which is why I repeat myself here. Now, as far as the perks here go, I just build for ammo, because anytime you are not building for ammo in your secondary, that is ammo wasted that you will have to buy later, and any ammo you have to buy in Siege mode is a waste of requisition points, which is unfortunately kind of like an oversight from Saber, that classes like Vanguard and Assault that have no ammo regen just eat into the points more for your team, and the classes like Tactical, Bulwark, Sniper, and Heavy do, but like hopefully they change that one day or like figure that out, but for now, that's just how it is, which is why we build ammo capacity and ammo efficiency. Now, as for our block chainsword here, we have taken the Artificer, mainly because block weapons, especially the Artificer block weapons, they are very good in this game. They do a lot of damage. They are bugged currently to not apply the 50% damage bonus on a perfect block like the perfect parry weapons do. That being said, they still do a ton of damage, and there's like a weird bug with the Tactical currently that his Auspex parry from Battle Focus will only proc off of a block weapon on all the bosses. So like if you're using a fencing weapon, you cannot proc Auspex parry on like a Hellbrute or something, which is kind of dumb. Pretty sure it's a bug, but that's just the way it is currently. And as far as the reason for the Artificer version, we do like this because it has a speed of 6, and a speed of 6 is incredible. It makes up for any damage loss, and the way block weapons function in this game is that instead of having a perfect parry, you have a perfect block window, and when you block for every attack you block, it gives you a damage increase up to like 2 charges, and if you stack 2 charges from your perfect blocks, you can then swing for an explosion, and you get armor back and a bunch of damage for like 1.3 seconds, like a damage boost for 1.3 seconds afterwards. Very strong. Not as strong as it used to be, mainly because it's bugged, but still very good. As far as perks go, the only two mandatory perks I'd say are in this tree are like Swift Recovery and Full Throttle. This one is a combo skip for the Chainsword. I'll put that up in the description up here, or like a little window to give you like a little selection. A link, my god, a link to the Chainsword combo skip if you'd like to see that and how to do that. Now, as far as the actual perks here go, it's pretty boring. It's just damage, and then you go into more damage. If you want to swap out combined onslaught here for momentum gain, you can. That's really up to you, but either way is the best setup overall in my opinion. Now, as far as our actual perk tree goes, we do take plasma boost once again. When plasma weapons are 30% overheated, their damage increases by 40% and their charge shots use 1 less energy. We use this mainly because the heavy bolt rifle does kind of suck ass at killing chaos and killing enemies like biovores, and our plasma weapon really benefits from this. It also makes us more ammo efficient and helps us kill a lot of enemies faster, so just keep that in mind. This is very strong. If you do want to take balanced distribution, you can, but losing like damage on your plasma kind of sucks in this game because the plasma pistol is pretty epic, so that's why we don't do that. Next perk here is Heightened Vigor. After a perfectly timed parry, block, or dodge, you deal 10% more melee and gun strike damage and do not lose control from taking heavy hits and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This is no knockback, and no knockback is just amazing because it keeps you from getting stun locked to death. Next perk here is Emperor's Vengeance. This just gives you more ammo back. And then we go into what is kind of a busted team perk here. This perk got buffed in this patch. Equipment charge restored by 1 for all squad members. Cooldown is 60 seconds. This is like a straight up Darktide perk on the veteran skill tree, and this one works for your whole team and gives your whole team's Melta bombs to spam. And right now in siege mode, Melta bomb spam is simply the meta. It is really just that strong, and this perk kind of overshadows these other two. This perk here, Aligned Aim, is still really good. It's just unfortunate that Secure Stockpile has decided to be like the top 3 perk in the whole game, and that's just how it is currently. Next perk here is Vital Data. Scanning Extremis or Terminus level enemy restores Auspex scan charge by 50%. There are so many Extremis and Terminus in siege mode. This one is a no-brainer. It's also good for operations even on absolute difficulty. And then we go into Battle Focus. A perfectly timed parry or block gives the parried enemy a mark from Auspex scan. This perk does not function as well as it used to, only because it no longer seems to apply buffs from things like Concentrated Fire, but it is still very strong because any Auspex is better than no Auspex, and free damage is free damage. Next perk here is Concentrate Fire. Auspex scan zone lasts 60% longer, and enemies marked by Auspex scan take an additional 120% damage, but they lose the mark when they leave the scanned area. This perk is still very strong. This is like the biggest damage buff you can actually get on your Auspex, and often the triple boss spawns especially will just sit there and like sit in the large radius of this and just eat a bunch of plasma damage. Really good perk. I pretty much always take this. And then next perk here is also incredible. Radiating Impact. A melee finisher additionally deals significant area of effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk is just epic. It will do a ton of damage to enemies throughout the whole game, especially on siege mode. It can wipe out whole Majora's packs on its own, put them to execute, or just kill Extremis for you, or even bosses. Awesome perk. This is significantly better than the other two. Now, as far as our prestige perks go, we take Acuity for more headshot damage, pretty self-explanatory, and then we take Skill Supplier for more ammo. You don't have to take this if you don't want. You could take another option, but I decided to take this one today. Next perk here is Spare Power. Collecting an ammo box restores ability charge by 25%. It is pretty easy to buy ammo boxes in the siege mode, so this is pretty much a free Concentrate Fire, and there are times where spamming a boss with Auspex is kind of necessary, so this is very good for that. And then we take Fortitude, because health increasing by 15% just makes you more survivable on siege mode, and this class kind of struggles with surviving at times. Hey guys, first Regardsman here. I'm going to be talking about a Melta rifle build for the tactical class in patch 8.1 of Space Marine 2. Now, the Melta rifle is a very popular gun in this game. I do love this thing for operations, but in the hard siege mode it's not a very strong pick, mainly because post wave 15 the enemies start to get enraged so often that like the main benefit of this gun being staggered just falls off completely, because enraged enemies cannot be staggered. Its damage is also pitiful when the enemies actually start to get damage resistance, so for the most part it's not very strong for hard siege on the higher waves. But if you're playing like 1 through 15 on hard siege, or like even the normal mode, it's pretty good for that, and in operations it performs pretty well all the time. Now, as far as the best variants for this gun go, I pretty much always take the magazine capacity and ammo reserve option, because the magazine capacity on this gun is very useful, because this gun has like a 5 business day reload speed. I've actually timed it, and that's why perks like Emperor's Judgment are very strong to instantaneously reload this thing. And also, the Melta rifle has a very good ammo economy for a primary weapon in this game, with perks like Decisive Reload. Performing a finisher on a Majoris level or higher enemy with this weapon restores ammo by 1. You are finishing Majoris in this game all the time, so this is a very easy perk to proc, and it is way better than perks like Magazine Restoration that like require you to eat shit and have a cooldown, because you can pretty much just do this as many times as you can actually execute a Majoris, which is very, very valuable. Next perk we take is Rapid Health. When your health is below 30%, killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores health by 10%. Very strong perk. And then we move into Trick Shot. Killing 5 enemies with 1 shot restores 1 armor segment. Cooldown is 30 seconds. Now you might look at this perk and say like, oh, that's not very good. Like a 30-second cooldown for 1 armor. My armor is paper mache, but armor in this game is actually super valuable because it reduces all melee damage to 0, even from bosses, and it also gives you some damage caps versus range attacks, and that's really, really strong for the most part, especially against chaos. And it's very easy to trigger this against like 5 enemies that you're shooting all the time. And really, all armor restores for free in this game, just say you get free damage reduction, so very powerful effect. Next thing here is Great Might. Damage increases by 10% against terminus level enemies. This perk sucks because this gun sucks versus bosses. Like, you're pretty much never taking this for bosses. That's where I take a plasma pistol later with plasma boost, because a rate of fire plasma pistol is actually way better boss damage with our auspex than the actual primary is here. So pretty much a waste of a perk, but unfortunately they decided to give it this one. Then move over here into a free 10% damage increase, and then we take Extended Magazine. Magazine size increases by 15% of the maximum. This will take our magazine capacity to 10, and that combined with things like Emperor's Judgment means you can pretty much just like fire off your Melta rifle between triggers, and it's very easy to just keep it topped off and never actually have to reload this thing, which is very valuable. Next perk we take here is First Shot. The first shot after a reload deals 10% more damage. Now, I'm not actually sure if this perk properly procs with the perk Emperor's Judgment. I never actually tested it, but if it does, that's a pretty good bonus for your first shot. Next thing here is Retaliation. After a perfectly timed dodge, you deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. Now, 25% more damage is super chunky in this game, and 10 seconds is an eternity for an uptime, but keep in mind, any perk trigger like this that says like, oh, it lasts for 10 seconds, you can't reapply it until the actual effect is over, so you do have to wait all 10 seconds for this to finish, and then you can get another trigger. Next perk here is Perpetual Fire. Fire rate increases by 10%. Pretty strong because this gun's fire rate sucks, and unfortunately this gun has no fire rate version at all. It has a firepower version and a range version, and the range on this weapon is not bad to begin with, so pretty much a useless perk here, or a useless variant, and this one, the firepower variant, makes barely any difference in my experience. So overall, ammo reserve and magazine capacity is just the best. Now, as far as our secondary goes, I do take a plasma pistol, because the plasma pistol is actually pretty damn good for AoE boss damage, on top of being very good at stunning things like Soul Cannon Terminators, and the rate of fire variant on top of a plasma boost perk here, which is when plasma weapons are 30% overheated, their damage increases by 40% and their charge shots use 1 less energy. It is very easy to build up to the 30% overheat with a rate of fire variant, and your DPS on this thing is actually quite strong, and the magazine capacity is affected by the prestige perk here, Skilled Supplier, and this is like one of the only perks in the whole game that will actually benefit your secondary, which is quite interesting because the ammo reserve for secondaries is usually locked. Now, as far as the perk tree goes, I just build it all the way down the top tree, pretty standard here. We do build in the Plasma Collection and the extra Divine Might perk, and this way you can get the max blast radius without really sacrificing any of your ammo economy, so pretty strong option there. And also the AoE gun strikes on this thing are just super valuable in both operations and siege mode. Now, as for the melee weapon, I do just take the Artificer Blockchain Sword. Now, people ask me all the time, why do I take the Artificer and not the Relic tier here? Well, it's because the Artificer is faster, and being able to trigger perk effects like Swift Recovery faster, and being able to like build up momentum gain, which is each consecutive light attack increases light attack melee damage by 3% up to 30% for 3 seconds, and just being able to pull off your stagger from your block charges that much more quickly is just super, super valuable in this game. It just makes this one just like an overall far better pick than the Relic tier block version, even if its damage is like kind of pretty much the same. Like, to be honest, like there's not a huge difference between these two in damage. It's just that this one is way easier to pull off a lot of things on the enemies, and for the most part just outperforms this one significantly because it has far more utility. And that's like the big thing about the Artificer block version. Speed is just king in this game because getting off block charges and like getting off your adrenaline surge attacks is just far more valuable than like waiting around for a super slow attack string. And force speed is not awful, it just ain't 6. Now as far as the perk tree goes, we just build all the way down the bottom here into the full throttle skip on top of momentum gain, because each consecutive light attack increases light attack melee damage by 3% up to 30%. Very easy to pull off light attacks with a 6 speed here on top of things like the combined onslaught. Light combo attacks with this weapon deal 10% more melee damage. Very strong combo here. As far as the actual perk tree on the chainsword here goes, I just go down into the actual full throttle skip. Then I take momentum gain because momentum gain is very easy to pull off with a speed of 6. And we also take combined onslaught, which is light combo attacks with this weapon deal 10% more melee damage. And since we have so many light attacks on this, it's actually very easy to stack these bonuses. Now I do want to mention that a lot of people say that fencing is safer than block. That's only kind of true, mainly for Zangors, because parrying the Minoris is actually not a very powerful ability in this game compared to what people think, mainly because Minoris will attack you less the more Extremis and Majoris around you. There's an attack token system in Space Marine 2 where like there are Majoris or Extremis nearby, Minoris will attack you less, so just like kind of like wait around. So you're actually getting less armor back from them and having on-command armor from block charges, because after 2 Adrenaline Surge charges, your next attack will give you armor, and having armor versus bosses and stagger versus multiple Majoris is just way more valuable than animation locking yourself into gun strikes. And even perks like Relentless Pursuit here, which you will be taking after a gun strike range damage increases by 25% for 5 seconds, is really not that hard to pull off even without a fencing weapon, because gun strikes are easily pulled off with perfect dodges. They're easily set up with the lunging attack of any melee weapon in this game, on top of things like the gun strike executes for the Majoris, because if you swing your sword once on a Majoris that's in execute stance, you can actually gun strike them instead of just like having a full-on execute. So for all those reasons, gun strike perks are still very, very easy to pull off. They might be like slightly easier to pull off in a fencing weapon, but the downsides of a fencing weapon just have block outperforming them like 9 times out of 10. And that's why block is used in the hardest runs in this game, because it's just overall the best. And as for the actual perk tree setup here, I do take Plasma Boost first, because previously I mentioned that a Plasma Pistol rate of fire is very, very strong when combined with this perk, and really I pretty much always take this when I have a Plasma Pistol as my secondary. Next perk here is Relentless Pursuit. After a gun strike, range damage increases by 25% for 5 seconds. This will benefit both your primary and secondary, and you are gun striking in this game all the time regardless of block or fencing. It's really not that hard to pull off at all. Though if you do want to take Heightened Vigor for no knockback and 10% more melee and gun strike damage on a parry, block, or dodge, you can definitely do that too. I decided to take this today. Now next perk that I would primarily take in operations is Emperor's Judgment. After a finisher, the equipped range weapon reloads automatically, and your primary weapon deals 20% more damage for 10 seconds. 20% more damage is quite chunky, and 10-second uptime is an eternity in this game. Super, super valuable perk here, though I will say if you're playing Siege mode, you might be spending a ton of requisition points on ammo compared to Emperor's Vengeance, but really the Melta rifle isn't made for like pushing past like wave 20, let alone like wave 25 on the Siege mode anyways. If you're just trying to get past wave 15, this is pretty strong already anyways, so like you really don't need an Emperor's Vengeance. And honestly, people in Siege mode waste their requisition points all the time anyways, so you're probably not going to be the biggest detriment on your team to begin with, so not too bad. Now next team perk here, Secure Stockpile. Equipment charge restored by 1 for all squad members. Cooldown is 60 seconds. This is probably like the best team perk in the entire game currently. The amount of requisition points like this actually generates is in the thousands. It is absurd how strong this perk is. It might get nerfed, but for now it's still the best. And if you want to take Transhuman Physiology over this, you could. This one's just overall better. And Aligned Aim, I don't really value this one super highly on a Melta rifle, but it does benefit like Plasma Poise on your team and maybe your secondary. Now as far as the Vital Data perk goes, I think this is the best in this tree. These other two need a significant buff, because getting back 50% of your Auspex scan versus Extremis and terminal enemies with how many bosses there are in both Siege mode and Absolute now with their buffed HP is just super strong. And really, Auspex scan is so clutch currently in Absolute and Siege mode for like nuking bosses. It's kind of insane, which is why I've also chosen to stack on top Precise Calibration and Concentrated Fire. This one giving you a 75% bonus damage to your Auspex scan on top of a reduced 25% radius. And then here, Concentrated Fire is a 60% longer Auspex scan zone and 120% additional damage on top of this for pretty much no downside except you know, they can move out of the zone. So you have to be careful and like know the actual attack patterns of the enemies to like properly set this up. But if you have like a coordinated bulwark and they plant their banner and just like sit in the face of a Carnifex to like parry away at them, this is a super strong combo, and really nuking bosses in this game is just super meta currently. Next perk here is our signature perk, Radiant Impact. A melee finisher additionally deals significant area of effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk is just the best signature perk on Tactical by far. Signal Jammer might as well not exist at all. One of the worst perks in this game, period. Really needs to be looked at again. And Marked for Death, its cooldown is way too long to ever be valuable. And this one just scales up into like the hardest difficulties. Super strong. Blast apart Majora's packs. Blast apart the Extremis packs. Also does significant damage to bosses. Will knock Zoanthropes out of the sky. It's kind of insane how much work this perk does. And if you want to save the 90-second cooldown and like proc it when you want, you can kind of like gimmicky, do like a little gimmicky thing where like you whack the execution guys instead of executing them and just shoot them with a gun strike like I mentioned previously. So pretty good for that. And 90-second cooldown is pretty long, but this effect is just so strong. And every time it procs, it's like almost clutch. So as far as the prestige perks go, I skip over Acuity because we literally do not benefit from headshots at all on this build because we have a chainsword, plasma pistol, and Melta rifle. And guess what? There is no headshot multiplier on these guns whatsoever. So like to actually take Acuity, I would take like a heavy bolt pistol, but overall, I just prefer plasma on this. So instead, I take skill supplier. Ammo reserve increases by 15%. This does affect our primary and our secondary, so very strong effect. Spare power, collecting an ammo box restores ability charge by 25%. This is primarily good to abuse your Auspex scan on the actual, not the operations, the siege mode, because siege mode just lets you buy ammo boxes, so super strong for that. But sometimes your teammates will just take your ammo boxes because they don't know what the fuck you're doing, and it's not really their fault. It's just like the game doesn't let you, like, you know, kind of cordon off your ammo boxes. What are you gonna do? So if you're in a coordinated team, this is definitely better, and abusing Auspex is very strong. Overall, this is pretty much only good in the siege mode, but sometimes it does come into play in operations. Next, I take resilience, Medicae, stims, restore 40% more health. Very strong, just give your stims more value, and this can take you back up to like full HP off again like a major hit. Very, very strong for that effect. And fortitude, health increases by 15%. This is a no-brainer. Health increases are just so valuable in Space Marine 2 because the lower your HP is, more damage resist you get, and that's just a super strong effect. So your effective HP goes like through the moon the more HP you have in this game, which is why Bulwark and Heavy are so damn strong. Now, as for the other two perks we skipped over here, Second Look does like literally nothing unless you shoot your Auspex scan to orbit when you have concentrated fire, and Exigency Charge is just like the perk effect should be like below 50% HP, not 25%, because 25% is like you're probably going to stim or you're going to get one shot, especially on Tactical where you don't really have a lot of defenses. So pretty shit perk for this guy. Hey guys, first Guardsman here, and today I'll be talking about an auto bolt rifle build for the Tactical class for both Operations and Siege Mode, patch 8.1 of Space Marine 2. Now, the auto bolt rifle is one of the guns in this game. It is unfortunately the most limited in both variants and perk tree of any weapon currently, and the version we'll be taking today is the magazine capacity and ammo reserve option, mainly because with perks like Home Precision, you really don't need an increased accuracy variant, on top of the fact that this gun's main selling point is that it has a ton of ammo, and you're just able to barrel stuff guys like a fat magazine. That's really all it's good for. So for the perk tree, we start off with Home Precision here. Equip weapons maximum spread decreases by 50% when firing without aiming. This basically turns your hip fire into a laser beam. Pretty useful on this gun, even more useful on the bolt carbine. But for the bolt rifle, or excuse me, the auto bolt rifle, it is pretty good for just barrel stuffing guys, especially when you combine it with perks like Close Combat, which are enemies at a distance of no more than 15 meters take 15% more damage, helps us barrel stuff. Then move into Fast Reload. Then we go over here to Headhunter for more headshot damage. Then we take what's actually a pretty good perk here, which is Elite Hunter. After killing a Majora's level or higher enemy with a melee weapon, headshots deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. 25% more damage is pretty chunky. And this weapon's damage isn't like horrific. It really only suffers on like CHP regen. It's just unfortunate that you have to put so many rounds into guys because it's really more of like a consistent damage than like a burst that you expect from like a Stalker bolt rifle, which is why it's pretty mid. Next perk here is Great Might. Damage increases by 10% against Terminus level enemies. I mean, so fucking what? This gun's like boss damage is horrific anyways. This perk is pretty much just something we take to go down here into Rampage, which is after killing 7 enemies in rapid succession, you deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. Cooldown is 15 seconds. This perk is pretty good. I mean, 25% more damage on top of Elite Hunter, on top of Close Combat is pretty chunky. And then we can take an even higher capacity with increased capacity to trigger our Emperor's Vengeance perk that much more, and you'll pretty much never run out of ammo with this weapon. Alternatively, you could take Rapid Health on top top of recruitment here. These are not bad perks by any means, especially this one, but I decided to take this one today. Now, since our auto bolt rifle is not good for CHP recovery, AoE damage, or boss damage, for our secondary, we do take a rate of fire plasma pistol, mainly because the rate of fire plasma pistol on the tactical class in particular is really valuable with plasma boost, which is when plasma weapons are 30% overheated, their damage increases by 40%, and their charge shots use 1 less energy. And since we have such a fast rate of fire on the plasma pistol here, you get this off super quickly. It's a ton of value, a ton of DPS to be honest, and really just a very strong combo in general. You do lose out on some magazine capacity, but really rate of fire is just the best because it keeps you alive, gets you CHP back faster on top of having more damage. Now, as far as the perk tree goes, I just go down the top line so you can get all the blast radius you want on top of things like increased charge speed and all the perks for ammo like efficient charge and plasma collection. And we also pick up divine might down here for increased damage. Now, as far as the melee weapon goes, we do take the artificer block chainsword because this is just like the best chainsword in the entire game by far. 6+ speed is incredible, allows you to get off perks like swift recovery and get those heavy attacks out for contested health recovery significantly faster, and block is just so strong for giving you guaranteed armor regen versus things like Terminus and Extremis, because the way armor works in this game is it has damage caps, and on the higher waves of siege, enemies will do increasing damage to your HP, but damage to armor pretty much stays the same, so really valuable for that reason. Very strong, and 11+ strength doesn't really matter on a block weapon that much because you're still going to be doing way more damage like a fencing version, especially when you take into consideration the 30% and 90% damage bonus on top of stagger, on top of the armor regen you're getting from the block charges. Now, as far as our perk tree setup goes, we just go down the bottom tree here for the full throttle skip on top of momentum gain because you attack so fast that stacking melee damage of light attacks is very easy, and you can also take combined onslaught for even more light combo damage. So this thing actually hits pretty hard. You'd be pretty shocked even without the block parry 50% damage bonus applied currently, because they did bug that in this patch. It does suck, and what I mean by that is that previously block weapons used to properly apply the parry bonus for like the enemies to take 50% more damage from like all sources for a short period of time after a perfect block or perfect parry. Unfortunately, that no longer works, but they're still very strong and still the best option overall. Now, for the actual perk tree, we do take plasma boost here first, like I previously mentioned. This really is like the strongest node in this whole line here because balance distribution has a downside, and crack and penetrator rounds does basically nothing for like 99% of weapons in this game outside of the bolt carbine. So pretty much take this all the time if you have any type of plasma weapon. Next perk here is heightened vigor. After a perfect time to parry, block, or dodge, you deal 10% more melee and gun strike damage, do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This just allows you to get off block charges while also doing more melee and gun strike damage. Super valuable. Also applies to your perfect dodges, which is kind of insane. I mean, I know all the knockback perks do, but this one gives you bonus damage, which is kind of crazy, which is why it's the best variant of this perk in the whole game. If you do want to take secondary damage with the versatility perk, this is also very strong with things like the plasma boost as well, especially when you have like a rate of fire variant on your plasma pistol like we previously talked about. Very good combo here too. Unfortunately, heightened vigor is just so valuable to not get you stun locked that I pretty much take this all the time instead. Next perk here is like a no-brainer for siege mode. Emperor's Vengeance is just infinite ammo, especially with a weapon that has as large of a magazine capacity and ammo reserve option like this one does, and this is like the only selling point for this whole build here on the auto bolt rifles, that you pretty much never run out of ammo. That's true for a lot of weapons in this game, but this one especially. As far as the team perk goes, secure stockpile. Equipment charge restored by 1 for all squad members. Cooldown is 60 seconds. I mean, giving 60 second shock nades or melta bombs to your whole team is just incredible in this game. Super powerful perk. If you're trying to build a meta build of any kind, even if you're using an auto bolt rifle, just always take this perk. It is just that good. But if you want to take a line aim, you can, and the transhuman physiology here will help with things like the contested HP recovery of your auto bolt rifle and especially your plasma pistol. But overall, secure stockpile generates so much value in this game that's just kind of a no-brainer. Next perk here is vital data. Scanning extremis or terminus level enemy restores Auspex scan charge by 50%. There are so many extremis and terminus level enemies, even in just absolute difficulty now, that taking this is just free cooldown on your Auspex, and Auspex is like the main selling point of this class because the damage nuking you can do on tactical is genuinely insane. Next perk we have here is battle focus. A perfectly timed parry or block gives the parried enemy a mark from Auspex scan. Now you have a choice here because battle focus, it did get nerfed. It no longer applies the bonuses of things like concentrated fire or expert timing. However, you could pick precise calibration instead of the battle focus now, because precise calibration on top of concentrated fire will allow you to just nuclear bomb bosses, but Auspex scan is still very valuable on a parry and really helps out weapon breakpoints like your auto bolt rifle and your plasma pistol and your chainsword. So if you want to take that, you sure can, but you can also just swap this out for boss nuking. Now, as far as the next perk here, just take Concentrate Fire. This one just makes your Auspex scan zone last longer, which means you're getting more value out of it on top of getting even more damage out of it. Super, super good perk. Also means that you never have to take a perk like Second Look ever, because Second Look doesn't do anything with the Concentrate Fire, because Concentrate Fire, you'd have to like shoot it into orbit to actually ever get a trigger of the Second Look. So Auspex scan, very, very powerful. Concentrate Fire just makes it better, and really all you have to do is just make sure you're pointing in the right direction. It has such a wide radius that it's very, very easy to pull off. And as far as the signature perk goes, again, no-brainer, Radiating Impact, a melee finisher, additionally deals significant area of effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk is just phenomenal. Like, I kind of don't understand what they're cooking with these other two. There needs to be a serious rework of Signal Jammer especially. I mean, Marked for Death also sucks ass at this point, because 120-second cooldown to kill what? Like one Zoanthrope is awful in this game, especially with how many like Zoanthrope nuking options the tactical has already. This perk just scales up so high compared to all of these other ones, and really half of this tree kind of needs a rework at this point, but I digress. As far as the prestige perks go, just take Acuity because you're trying to shoot for headshots, and this one's pretty much always good. Then I move into Spare Power, because in Siege mode especially, you can just buy ammo boxes, and during a boss wave, you can like camp out your ammo boxes, assuming that like your teammates don't have soup for brains, and they don't just take all of your ammo boxes and they actually communicate with you, and you can just spam out Auspex, and it's super powerful with just Concentrate Fire, and it's even extra powerful with the Precise Calibration perk on top of this. So really, really strong perk here for the Siege mode. Not super good in Operations, but Operations are also so easy, it doesn't really matter. Next perk we take here is Fortitude. Health increases by 15%. This is like one of the only tank perks on this entire class, so pretty much always take this. And then I also take Resilience. Medicae Sims restore 40% more health. Now, this perk is incredible for value, because it basically turns like one stim to like almost a full heal. Really, really strong option, especially for getting like your mortal wound cleared off of like half HP. Very strong for that. And that's pretty much all there is to this build, guys. I know people ask for an auto bull rifle build. This weapon is pretty mediocre. I do want to say, like, it's not horrific. Like, you can definitely use it, it's just not epic. And the main thing it struggles with is boss damage. That is true for like basically every automatic bolt weapon in this game, but this one is still pretty fun to use at times, so use at your own leisure. Hey guys, first for Guardsman here, I'll be talking about a maximum headshot bolt carbine range damage build for the tactical class in Operations and kind of Siege mode. Now, the bolt carbine is one of the strongest weapons in Space Marine 2, probably the strongest automatic bolt weapon in the game. That's not like the heavy bolter, and it's also one of my favorite guns, period. Now, we do take the ammo reserve and magazine capacity version, mainly because the 2 accuracy on this weapon hardly matters at all, thanks to the perk Hone Precision. Equipped weapons maximum spread decreases by 50% when firing without aiming. This basically turns your weapon into a hip-fire laser beam, and your accuracy is actually better in the hip-fire than like aiming down sights. So really strong for that option. Only downside of this perk is that gun strikes in this game will automatically trigger when you hip-fire no matter what when one is active. That does kind of suck. It's sort of like a limitation of controller port, to be honest, but for the most part, it still works just fine. Now, the perks I take here are Headhunter, then we move into Rapid Health, Hone Precision, and then we just go like full Divine Might, Headhunter damage for more headshot damage, move down here into Ammo Reserve options, then we take Magazine Restoration, and the reason I'm skipping over the perk Adamant Hunter here is because, first of all, it kind of has like a negative interaction with the perk Rapid Health, because you'll constantly go above like the 30% limit here, because you have to be below 30% for Adamant Hunter to trigger, and Rapid Health will constantly put you at 30% because it has no cooldown. So kind of frustrating there. This doesn't like really work that well together, but overall, we just go down here instead, and then we move down into Adamantine Grip, and then go and take Divine Might for even more damage. You might be wondering, why are we not taking the Gunstrike Reload perk? And that's because in this build, I will be taking Emperor's Judgment instead of Emperor's Vengeance. Though I will say, if you're going to take this in the Siege mode, I probably would take Emperor's Vengeance, but Emperor's Judgment actually works really well. This is after a finisher, the equipped ranged weapon reloads automatically, and your primary weapon deals 20% more damage for 10 seconds. Now, for our secondary selection here, I did take a heavy bolt pistol over the plasma pistol this time, mainly because I will not be taking the plasma boost perk, and without that, the plasma pistol is not as good as a heavy bolt pistol in my opinion. But either way, our secondary is not as powerful as it could be thanks to balance distribution, which will make it do 10% less damage, and this is pretty noticeable, but it's really not too bad. And overall, I just prefer the heavy bolt pistol here because I will be taking the Acuity Prestige perk for headshot multipliers, and this one actually benefits from headshots, where the plasma pistol does not at all. And as far as the variant I choose, I do take the ammo reserve and magazine capacity version, mainly because for secondaries, especially in this game, having like a greater magazine capacity and ammo reserve option is just better, even for your DPS at times, because shooting longer without reloading is just overall like the meta in this this game. And the perk tree I set up is just all the way down the top tree, and then you can choose between the ammo reserve option here or the terminus layer option. That's really up to you. And as for the melee weapon here, I would take a fencing chainsword, a balanced knife, or a fencing knife, because really we're going for gun strikes here thanks to the perk Relentless Pursuit, which is after a gun strike, range damage increases by 25% for 5 seconds. I am really trying to maximize range damage on our primary weapon with all of these perks here, so that's kind of like the whole point of this build. Even though getting gun strikes is not too hard with just perfect dodges, obviously a fencing and balanced weapon are better for gun strikes, so we're going to be using that today for that reason. Now the actual perk setup on the chainsword knife really don't matter too much because these things are like primarily fencing, like little parry sticks, and overall fencing and balanced weapons just suck for damage anyways. You're just using them to parry for the most part. So perk setup doesn't matter too much, but this is the way I have it set up for this, and for the knife I have it set up this way. And as for the actual perk setup here, we do take balance distribution first. Your primary weapon deals 10% more damage, but your secondary weapon deals 10% less damage. Now the damage loss on your secondary weapon is quite noticeable with this, but it doesn't really matter because 10% more damage on a bolt carbine is incredible, and you're really only going to be using your bolt carbine for the most part on this build anyways. It's a really strong pick for this. Next perk is the same one I mentioned before, Relentless Pursuit, more range damage after gun strike. 5 seconds is not like a super long uptime, but 25% increased range damage on a bolt carbine at like point blank is kind of insane. Really strong for that option. That's why we take a parry weapon. Next thing we take here is Emperor's Judgment. After a finisher, the equipped ranged weapon reloads automatically, and your primary weapon deals 20% more damage for 10 seconds. 10 seconds is a super long uptime in this game, and getting a reload off a finisher is really valuable in the bolt carbine, because the bolt carbine may have a fat magazine but also has like an insane fire rate, and being able to fire it off more like between executes is very strong, and 20% more damage is a pretty chunky increase on top of everything else. Now if you are playing siege mode, I would take Emperor's Vengeance just because running out of ammo kind of sucks, but if you're only planning on going up to like wave 20 or wave 25, you could still take this. You're just going to be eating into requisition points. Next perk here is Aligned Aim. Range damage increases by 15% for all squad members. I don't know if you've been able to notice, but we are kind of just building for range damage here, so this one's kind of a no-brainer. Though I will say that if you're trying to go for like a more meta setup, Secure Stockpile is obviously better. A 60-second cooldown on all of your equipment charges for your entire team is kind of insane. This perk is just like the best team perk in the whole game for like obvious reasons, and unfortunately Aligned Aim is worse, but for this build I decided to take this because we're maximizing range damage. Next perk we take here is Vital Data. Scanning extremis or terminus level enemy restores Auspex scan charge by 50%. I think that getting back your Auspex is just too valuable in this game, and there are a lot of extremis and terminus level enemies now, even in absolute operations, so a very valuable perk. And like these other ones like priority targeting and the target lock, just not that strong in my opinion. Next perk here is Battle Focus. A perfectly timed parry or block, it gives the parried enemy a mark from Auspex scan. Now when we take our fencing chainsword and we perfect parry a guy, or like even with our knife here, you pretty much just open them up, you put a parry Auspex on them, and suddenly you just blast their face at like point blank with your bolt carbine, because the bolt carbine does get an increased headshot multiplier when it's within like 10 meters of an enemy. So this will all stack together to just make you like nuke an enemy in the face. Very strong combo. Though if you do want to take precise calibration here for more Auspex damage on top of concentrated fire, this is also a very strong combo for boss nuking and overall best for boss nuking, but this one's better for our bolt carbine. Next perk here is Concentrate Fire. Auspex scan zone lasts 60% longer, and enemies marked by Auspex scan take an additional 120% damage, but they lose the mark when they leave the scanned area. This one might take some getting used to for you if you haven't like used it before, but really the increased duration on this and the increased damage is super valuable, and just makes your Auspex scan better overall. So that's pretty much what I always pick. And then for the signature perk, kind of a no-brainer here. Radiating Impact, a melee finisher, additionally deals significant area of effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This is just the best signature perk by like far and away, like the best signature perk of like any class in this game almost. There are very few that are stronger than this, and Radiant Impact will wipe out entire Extremis Majoris packs for you. And really, you can also save the 90-second cooldown on this by just like whacking an enemy and gun striking them for an execute instead of using your finisher if you want. So just keep that in mind. Very strong perk. Honestly, they need to buff these other two dramatically if they want to be even close to this one, but for now this is S tier. Now as far as the prestige perks go, we take Acuity for more headshot damage damage. I mean, we're using a bolt carbine and a heavy bolt pistol, so kind of a no-brainer. I do take skilled supplier here because I don't really want to play this in the siege mode as much, so I won't be taking spare power. Just gives us more ammo, and since we don't have Emperor's Vengeance on this build, this is very valuable. Second look, it does literally nothing for you with concentrated fire because you pretty much have to like shoot your Auspex into orbit if you ever want to miss, so kind of a useless perk there. Spare power is really good with precise calibration if you want to take that, but if we're just playing the operations, I don't think it's super valuable because you can only like buy ammo boxes easily. So I just take resilience instead. Medicae stims restore 40% more health, and then I move into fortitude for health increase by 15% because these two perks here are like overall the most valuable, and this one just gives your Medicae stims more value as well. And that's pretty much all there is for this build. I'll show some operations gameplay of this and maybe even some siege mode because the bolt carbine, it really does just blast heads apart. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Take it easy. The Shorts King.
Yes. Wait, Shorts King or Short King?
That was the joke. I named the title the Shorts King champion. It's the Shorts King.
I'll accept Short King as well. I don't know if I'm that short though.
Not that short, like 5'9". Okay,
Yeah, exactly. Average King.
But I just thought Shorts King would be a funny title for the stream.
That is pretty funny.
Alright. Now,
I think Bolt Carbine is A tier. Because Plasma Gun is like S tier. Like Plasma's like nuts.
Bolt Carbine kind of falls off versus
Chaos.
Ways of Siege. No, it's actually really good with Chaos. It's just like there comes a point where the damage reduction of enemies is so high in Siege mode, like post wave 25, that all bolt weapons just fall off and do the abyss.
It's kind of better to just cleave.
No, yes, you need seriously high damage single target weapons like Stalker bolt rifle and like it needs like be high damage per shot, or you will just not get back your tested HP. Like the heavy bolt pistol becomes a feature.
Licta.
And
I barely know her.
Melta weapons just fall off, I guess, as well.
After wave 1.
After wave 1, no, whenever like at wave 20 when there were so many extremis, or so many rage, I should say, I think it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I am rocking the highest cosplay though. This new buff they did to Emperor's Judgment, just final shot, give like 20% more damage though. Pretty damn good. Like you just kind of nuke guys. Like if I were to put this down for your glorious plasma, I'm like, see, they just evaporate. Moving on.
Where did the lictors go?
Same place.
Did we botch the executes?
No, they went the same place as everyone else. You ever seen that? You ever seen X-Men?
Yeah.
Like, what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? What happens to lictors when they're shot by the bolt carbine?
Oh my gosh.
Changing magazine.
What do you think? What do you think the original X-Men films are better, or the fucking Jennifer Lawrence ones?
Okay, well, Jennifer Lawrence ones are definitely funnier. There's that one scene where she gets like sent to a forklift, and like Professor X barely has a reaction to her dying. It's like it's honestly comedy. Like, oh my god, my childhood friend has just perished before me. How unfortunate. He has like a mild reaction.
Demolition codes required to deploy an armed ordnance. Source one from any soldier you see, alive or otherwise.
Exterminated. Releasing frag grenade. Dropping magazine. That one calls for reinforcement. diligence, brothers. We will find those codes.
A dead end.
I was need to shreds through these guys. Aligned aim is a good perk. It's just unfortunate that secure stockpile is so good that you're almost trolling if you aren't taking secure
Brothers,
stockpile
I
and
hope
siege
you're having
mode.
better luck.
Yeah.
How damn powerful that perk is. I wonder if they'll nerf it. I really do.
I hope not, because
It's pretty fun.
Tactical's supposed to be the ranged boy.
He's a really god tier support class. He does fit his niche
I
very
have
well.
the codes, brothers.
Our search was successful.
I was telling my brother, we were talking about this game, that right now the heavy bulwark and tactical are just so far ahead of everyone else. Like, it almost seems like there's no point in playing anyone else.
It is pretty bad how strong they are right now. Comparatively. I just hope Patch 9 brings in the proper assault buffs that he deserves.
Yeah, he desperately needs something. Just give me fucking auxiliary reload. Please.
Yeah, just the ammo economy #1. That's what they didn't really think out about the
That's fine. We got the box down there.
Rot, tyranid scum. All specs prime. Rearming. Another Xenos bioform eliminated. Picking up extra rounds. Changing magazine.
There we go.
Alright. Yeah, I feel like they should bring back inner fire for Minoris executions. I don't think it'd be that bad. It's not like Vanguard's
No,
really
it wouldn't.
that strong anyways outside of his team perks.
Fresh munitions.
Is that really more OP than having a 60-second cooldown on all your Melta bombs and shock nades?
I was about to say, dude.
Like that's a pretty
The tactical team perk that just gives everyone equipment every minute is crazy.
It is fucking insane.
Paths are clear and codex compliant.
Yes, please buff my boy. I really should buff you.
Nothing will escape this crew once it catches fire.
Throwing frag grenade. Lictor. Sneaky high beam.
Whoa, my screen just went crazy. What the
Grabbing
hell?
that guy.
Yeah. It like flew across the entire level.
Eurocron. Keep your distance, brother. Rearming. away.
Warrior.
So at 50% HP, they will come out with another spawns. It could be just range dudes, or it could be even extremists.
Scan ready.
Mm-hmm.
Fresh magazine in. Pathetic tyranny of providence.
Dodge that, have been awesome. Put that down. He'll take damage reduction in this phase here. Just a little bit. It used to be 100%, but.
Mm-hmm. There's the extremists.
Swapping magazine.
Oh, no, one went down. I shouldn't have gone for a gun strike. That's a good idea. Need to learn patience when fighting extremists and terminists at the same time.
You are fertilizer now,
I don't want to get caught by a laser. Okay, it's not even getting directly at me here, so that's okay.
Remain animal. Rise and
I'll get you up. Yeah, you got all these warriors around me.
Yeah, good luck.
mortal wound.
Oh, yeah. I'm worried about.
Goodbye, cruel world.
Tried.
It's okay.
Melee warriors are very nice for getting people up.
I alone must execute the Emperor's will.
This guy's actually telling me my aspects now. I'm going to be using it from now on. Mental mode.
Hey, what's up, Indy? Indy, I have an interesting question for you. What do you think is more balanced right now, Space Marine 2 or Dark Tide? I don't know how much Dark Tide you've been playing recently, but with the RBDs in the game, it just seems like the game is completely easy mode right now.
Changing magazine.
RBD's definitely make Havoc 40, like, I'm a snooze fest. Understand what they're doing.
Dude, it's nuts. Oh, relics. Whoa.
I mean, we missed both the Auspexes, but it doesn't even matter. Imagine how great our damage could have been. Yeah, what is up, Wilson Cookies? I mean, Dark Tide combat has always been much more complex and depth in Space Marine 2. There's a lot that Space Marine 2 did really well. That is true. I just like the content in Dark Tide. A lot of some of the builds are so strong now that it's gotten pretty easy in Havoc 40. With the meta comps.
Yeah.
I feel like I was struggling more in the meta comps in Space Marine 2 now, on like the highest waves of Siege than I was in the Havoc 40 with meta comps.
Well, in Space Marine 2, you gotta be, I mean, just from what we saw, I know you make it look really, really easy. But you gotta be patient, man. Like, you gotta wait for your window. In Dark Tide, like, that's not really a thing. You just kind of go. Like, the game is kind of spammy right now.
Yeah, spammy is what I was thinking of a little bit. Obviously, like, the upper levels of Dark Tide are obviously, like, you can make the game work. But you have to go, like, slows and stuff like that to do it. I feel like Havoc 40 is in that part right now with meta comps. But I mean, then again, neither is like wave 25 Siege really. It's only deals with the absolute highest wave 30 plus. It starts to get kind of obnoxious. Just for that damage reduction. Like 99% of the player base is not even touching that, so I guess Havoc 40 is more. It's far more accessible rather than how it is.
Changing magazine. All specs prime. Silence that burning school, the more of its foul.
I'm just waiting to get Mr. E to play Space Marine 2. He's calling this my Barbie doll dress-up game. For everybody colors
Barbie doll
yeah, that's what he called
dress-up game.
called it my Barbie doll dress-up game.
Swapping magazine.
The big issue with Dark at the moment is that they try to balance it by just throwing infinite crap at you, but Crushers and Elites no longer feel elite. That is pretty true. When the game first came out, it was definitely like, all right, that has a scab mauler, that's a Crusher, and I cannot one-shot it. And now it's like, let's have like a power sword or something to like properly combo. It wasn't like ridiculously hard, but it was definitely more methodical than it is now.
Well, the perfect example is always going to be Vermintide 2 with how Chaos Warriors always feel threatening, no matter when you fight them. And when you fight a patrol of Chaos Warriors, that's a pretty big deal. Like, you got to use abilities, potions, bombs, other consumables. It's not an easy feat, just taking them out willy-nilly.
That Dark Tide
Exterminate.
new faction.
Gene Stealer Colts?
Gene Stealers would be cool. Proper Tyranids.
The Stealers of Genes?
I want orcs.
I don't think we'll get
I just want orcs.
proper needs, dude. I want orcs too, but like,
Orcs would shit
like with
on
the
the
exception of, like,
guys in that game, though, yeah.
well, maybe not. I think it's more so the scale, because like, orcs
Let's kill this guy. Let's kill
typically
this guy.
orcs
Space
typically
Marines are
like
not
invade a
fine.
whole planet.
Scanning.
We're trying to have
The
fun, man.
hive mind reels from the zoanthrope.
Yeah, but like Dark Tide's not like a planet invasion kind of game.
No experiments left behind, Jeff.
No, sure was the vine. Oh my god.
What is this? What am I looking at?
4 months.
Changing magazine.
Hey, armor.
A slave rat pokes you and you lose 33% health. Dude, guys with sticks really are just the final boss in Tide games.
Oh yeah.
Who doesn't like orcs, bro? It's true. I mean, even orcs like other orcs. I like to fight them.
Gosh,
Nobody
in Space
hates
Marine
Skaven
3,
more than
dude.
other Skaven.
Dude, in Space Marine 3, I want 3 factions, maybe even 4 factions. I want freaking Nids, I want Black Legion, I want Orcs, and I want fucking Necrons. Like, put Titus in an area where there's a crusade going on, and just give us all the enemies.
That would be pretty cool.
So fucking dope, dude.
Oh, Jeff, get ready to nuclear bomb these guys.
Oh yeah.
And they vanished.
Man, the heavy's so satisfying. Holy shit.
The precise calibration aspects is just bye. Whoever's in the hole. Whoever's in the holy circle was chosen.
Dude, Indy, get in our Discord call right now, and I'll sell you on Necrons for Space Marine 3, dude. I'll fucking sell you on them. I swear. You'll leave this
Necrons.
call being like, oh yeah, we need Necrons.
I used to... I mean, I think Necrons could be cool, but I'm not like the biggest fan of them as a faction. I mean, they're cool in the sense they have like neat looking ships. That's actually what I like about them the most. With their big dumb inertialess drives. I think those guys kind of got phased out though more probably.
I just think that the mechanics would fit with Space Marines' like new combat system so well, dude. Like, you'd be able to do so many things with the enemies.
Necrons are kind of cool. Oh, we gotta get to Generator 3. Oh shit. That's what I forgot.
Shoot.
I'm
Generator
all
3,
that.
no!
My small mind did not allow me to properly push all of this. I was gonna ask you, Jeff. Do you know you have Revan's Discord for Rogue Trader?
We're in the same. We're not friends, but we're in the same like channel or whatever.
I would like to ask him some questions about that game. Whoa, 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 whoa. Alright, you guys better get bombed. Face judgment.
Face judgment.
And its allies.
Face bolt carbine punishment.
Overwatch needed on generator 1.
But technically, like, because I know that Necrons can, like, absolutely one-shot body freaking Space Marines, like, any day of the week with, like, you know, the most basic of their guns. But technically, Tyranids can do the same thing, too. Like, pretty much any Tyranid attack can go straight through our armor and everything.
I'm sorry,
We should
Jeff,
be
I have
dying.
to die because otherwise the generator will explode.
That's okay.
And that would be the end of our game.
tangent.
It's okay, that's all I do on these
Casualty
streams.
reported.
Hell yeah.
You need to get the Tyranids off that
But
generator, brother.
yeah, like obviously, like one Primaris Marine is still not technically supposed to be able to take on like what FTG is doing right now. Like this should not be possible.
Yeah,
So-
what do you mean, dude? Tyranid warriors are known to be incredibly weak.
Okay.
That's why I'm always confused by people complaining about the
Progress is progress, brother.
about like, why is it so hard to kill so many Tyranids in this game? Tyranids warriors should be able to comfortably 1v1 a Space Marine. Space Marine might come out on top the majority of the time, but like they're by no means bums.
Yeah. But also
Bone
like
swords
the
can't cut
fact
through
that
a
we just
Ceramite.
we've wiped out the Thousand Suns like 50 billion times over. So
Yeah, they're supposed to be. I mean, they are. Rubric Marines are below the other guys, but they aren't that much far. Not like that bad. And the sorcerers aren't really there.
not a group of 3 Terminators.
Oh no. Not those guys. What do
You know, like
Oh god, my fence and chainsaw are so slow.
Let us
Does it even
spare
have the
the
capability
machine
to actually
further
cut through
hard.
this? I'm not sure if it does. God, the fence and chainsaw are so ass in this game. Why
oh
does-
no, dude, the
Oh, I got it,
generator.
I got it.
Okay.
You only have to kill the initial ones, so it's just that the chainsword's not. Fence and chainsword melee is just donkey. So.
All specs deep scan ready. We are ready to ambush the enemy camp.
There is an observation platform overlooking the Promethean fields. It will make a good vantage for your ambush.
You are fertilizer now, Rudolph.
Dude, so you know how we were talking about how, like, we were talking to the chat yesterday, and a lot of people said that they wanted
Ammunition cache
Space
here.
Marine 3 to be, like, the most hyper-monetized game, like, ever, so that we can get all the content and everything.
I am detained.
Or you're already
The Space Marine.
fudge.
I think total Warhammer 40k is gonna be that.
Total Hammer 40k. I mean, probably.
Dude, it's gonna be that.
Is it guaranteed though? Is the real question.
I would say so for sure. Like, I think that. Dude, I think
The
Sega wants
Tyrannosaurus
Total
Lex.
Warhammer 40k to happen.
The Tyrannosaurus Lex is pretty funny.
Be a good dark tide name for RBDs.
Yes, that would be pretty funny. They banned Mr. E's name though. You can't even
Fresh magazine in.
cook now.
I don't think they banned his name. I think it's a bug with naming right now. A lot of stuff is not
We're
usable
likely to
right
face
now.
one more boss, so I'm gonna save my.
It's probably right here.
If it's a current effects, I don't even care that much. It's gonna be up here. It's gonna be here, up the elevator, at the finale.
Yep.
That's how this shit goes.
Got barrels.
Okay. I thought this was a meme build, but something like that. The damage is pretty epic. The memeiest part about this is probably the,
I feel like you'd run out of ammo in Siege, dude.
oh yes, you would. I'll take it.
Never see your fire fall eliminate.
Or you have to buy a bunch.
Swapping magazine.
Yeah, you'd have to spend all your requisition points.
Where's the, I want to try out the, blockchain sword.
Run distraction efforts as long as you can.
25% extra range damage on gunstrike. That's probably the medium part of this role, but it's in the fencing chain sword with the gunstrike for. Because the fencing chain sword is just so, really the fencing weapons in this game are just so cheeks for the most part. That, and most of the gunstrike perks are not pretty gimmicky. For armor reinforcement, that one's pretty god tier. I wish the 25% gunstrike damage had like had more than a 5-second uptime. That's not that long in this game.
Stay close and sharp.
Most of them have
I think
10-second uptime.
most of the 5-second effects should be 10 seconds.
True.
100%.
Good day, FTG. Throw up Xenos. I hate them so much. I appreciate your vids, FTG. I just got the game some days ago. I'm hooked in the sniper class. I am glad I can help you there. Covering the generators of the power fist is so aids solo. Yes, it is. It is absolutely. All right.
Confidence
Hello,
is a weapon.
boys.
Overconfidence is a disadvantage.
I was really hoping for like a.
Oh my god.
Something not bad.
So in trouble. Fortify your psyche.
Engage mind shield.
You don't use my shield.
Oh, I'll use mind shields here?
What level's your heavy plasma now?
I maxed it out. Oh,
Fresh magazine in.
more extremis.
Commencing Auspex scan.
Dude, this guy's actually dodging my offense, but it's on purpose. It's an input read. You have to do it when they're on the ground. That's the time that's happened in this game.
No fear.
I dodged the wave and then got killed by the lictor. Oh no.
Foul revenge.
Lictor boy. Oh, he's waiting.
The lictor has us in its sights.
Oh, doing the waves.
Oh, that actually killed me.
Oh
That.
no!
Okay, I have a rock.
Heed my
Don't worry
plea.
about it.
Guiding primer.
Dude, we'd be glad to have you, Indy. It'd be fun as hell, dude.
Our brother
You can
died
carry
in
me.
valor.
you can help FTG carry me.
My brothers have fallen. I must not fail to try.
These boss fights are actually pretty difficult in the absolute. Like, I admit they are proper boss fights now, and if you don't know the movesets of them, they can definitely fuck you, and that's pretty fun. Wait.
Yeah.
I mean, they can definitely cook you.
Auspex engaged.
They just
Oh,
move
no,
out
they
of the range.
closed
My
up
odds
the,
against this game, I'll just have to tell you the calibration. It is.
They closed the Dark Tide early access server. I don't think I have Indy's Discord info.
I missed JTC Live.
Dude, I miss JTC Live so much, man.
Even when I wasn't making any type of 40k content, I was stuck in Anatube build. I was still like his #1 fan. I still send him money all the time. I've said
He's like my comfort content creator.
I've super chat
Like I used to just
anybody on Earth.
This is vanilla indie. We're just doing regular runs.
I level up our boy.
Ready to scan.
Investing every
Yeah,
aspect. These guys actually input redo on aspects now. I'm like 99% certain. So you have to use the aspects when they're going through their wave. But that's the best point in general. But still, it seems that they are very much aware.
Visuals incoming. Disgusting tyranny.
His position is
We're
defensible.
alive.
We're back.
Somewhat.
JTC is a sweetheart. JTC is a really nice guy.
Yep.
He also charges $100 for knife runs. I discovered that at one point. I sent him like $40, and he was like, "I'm not doing a knife run. That's 100."
That's 100,
Yeah.
buddy.
Why fencing? Because it's the
We must
mean
proceed
build.
together.
yeah. This is just vanilla milk and cookies. Where the fuck are you, Jeff? Get down here. Or the extremists come and eat you alive. Oh shit.
That one calls for reinforcement.
Oh, here we
So
are.
you guys just do your thing and I'll jump in when you need me?
Sure.
Oh, we got it.
Let's do that.
Actually, let's get you into here, Indy, because once we complete the run, you'll get XP. You still need a prestige, right?
That is true.
True. Alright, I'll do that.
It is free.
You'll be able to add me on Steam easy enough.
We can even wait.
My friend code and everything.
Final portion.
But we are prepared.
It shouldn't take you too long. You can just play
That
it. if you
bomb
need to.
triggered for optimal yield. Orbital scan estimates the bulk of the swarm.
Oh, don't
will
worry.
not be in
FTG
position
can
for a
play
while
it,
yet.
and then I can just
Keep your
AFK.
heads.
That
Get
is-
it done.
That's what the 5-minute death timers are for.
I see them
Exactly.
coming, brothers. Plenty for everyone.
So are you on the prestige grind right now? Are you trying to get some characters leveled?
That's what we're trying to do for Jeff. He needs his prestige and weapon XP.
Yep, getting all that stuff done.
Are you new to Space Marine 2?
The walls will not stop
I'm not
for long.
I'm not new to it. It's just that I played a ton when the game released.
Switching to
Kind
close
of
assault.
identified which like weapons I liked, and I was like, I don't really care to level up the other weapons. Like I'll just use these.
The bulk of the swarm
Also went
is
on
Max that out
vacation
the
at one point, I
classes.
think,
path. Continue holding.
Go on vacation. That was
Yeah.
nice.
You went on vacation for like 2 weeks. 4 different countries.
But no, I've primarily played Darktide. I typically prefer it, but
Where is mind bent?
recently the game, kind of like I alluded to, has just kind of been like baby mode because Orbides just making like having 40 super easy.
Sure, it sure is.
So-
there are course on that games, definitely.
Yeah.
I find they scratch different itches for me. Dark
Yeah.
Tide and Space Marine.
They're very different games, for sure. I think Jeff was saying that this game is more like a Souls-like.
It is. It is.
A lot slower.
Changing magazine. The refinery needs covering.
Is there a code I need to input, or do I just add one of you?
Yeah,
Either
that's
or.
the. I put my Steam friend code in the Discord chat, Indy. If you add me on Steam, you'll be able to join. I can invite you.
You are fertilizing our field. Swapping magazine.
Halfway there, brothers. Keep it up.
class are you guys on right now? Attack and heavy?
Yes.
Attack and heavy.
Currently getting
Execute.
Now the scene of fire fall eliminated.
Play down.
Alright, on my assault, I'm 25. I've got adrenaline boost and fortitude.
Real tyranny.
What should I pick up for my third? Duelist?
Oh, you could pick for your third.
I can answer that
I'm
question.
thinking duelist for like for block hammer maybe.
It's pretty good. There's another. I remember the other ones are, to be honest.
There's practice aim. For 50% range.
Oh, definitely that. Definitely that.
Yeah, I like practice aim. I like duelist. I like scramble targeting. Scramble
How-
targeting
how-
is great.
How's unyielding oath?
Meh. It's kind of good against chaos in the very later waves of siege, but like for 90% of combat, it also likes to block out a lot. It's not super.
It's yeah, it doesn't work all the time. That's the problem that I have with it.
And practice aim for 50% range damage. It also works with gun strikes, right?
No, it does not. Gun strikes are completely separate.
Gun strikes. Yeah.
There's next
Yeah.
to nothing in this game that actually affects gun strike damage. I believe the parry bonus does.
Just the
but that's
weapon
about
you're
it.
using.
Yep.
Just the weapon you're using. So that's why everyone uses like plasma, for example, is because it has the highest.
I had
highest
to
gun
check
strike
this
damage.
actually. Higher, it's just plasma's AoE gun strikes.
Visuals incoming.
Oh, AOE.
Yeah, pretty fun.
Sick.
We severed the Zoanthrope's connection to the hive. Dropping magazine.
I'm gonna start making fencing weapon propaganda. Guys, you can get the same AoE damage capability as block weapons
I mean, I can
by
make
just using
my-
a plasma pistol.
Gotta make the bi-weekly fencing versus block video.
Yeah.
You are clear to detonate.
I
What
had
do
to
you think
actually
of,
put I know Maplewood has like an
Yes, Captain.
automatic tag with his Hell Divers, like the biggest questions people ask him when it's Hell Divers content.
Dig in. We need that bomb trigger.
I should do that. Like, why do I use the Artificer
Orbital
block?
scan estimates the bulk of the swarm will not be in position for a while yet.
You could probably have like a stream bot that tells like viewers like there's a command.
And I carried the shit out of you guys that game. That's insane.
That's true.
Thank you so much. It's the skin, dude. It's the champion skin.
Indy is probably the god-tier gamer here, considering he used to play in Total War Championships all the time. Correctly.
I had some competitive background in Total War, but not like they're way better players.
That's what they all say. That's what they all
That's
say.
what they all say.
Extraction complete. Returning to orbit.
The most humble marine.
That's the winner's mentality. Like there are better players. So practicing.
Oh, seriously, I played against a competitive guy yesterday for some replays, and I've kind of been burnt out on Total War in general. I haven't posted
Oh,
much,
yeah.
but I haven't played multiplayer much in like the last like 3-4 months, and I just got like shit on in 3 straight games. Like, yep, it's been a while.
Shit. I feel like honestly though, like that's me with like any fucking PvP game at this point. I feel like such a freaking boomer nowadays. Whenever I log into like Destiny 2 or
Yeah.
even PvP in this game, like, bro.
Well, it's not like a super fast twitch type of thing, but it's very, I mean, obviously very knowledge based. Like it's an RTS, and especially in land battle, knowing army comps is a big part of it, and knowing matchups. And if you haven't played for like multiple patches and aren't seeing what people are doing or like watching other people's replays, then you pretty quickly fall behind.
That is true.
I could get back into it pretty easily, but